What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So yesterday, we had talked about that hack that hit Sony and Insomniac. While it seemed like we had a screenshot or two of Wolverine, it also appears some of their plans for upcoming games got out there, and go figure, seems to have to do with Spider-Man. We'll go over that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about an incredible port for The Legend of Zelda, one of the more popular games in the franchises that you can actually start playing right now. And we'll also be taking a look at the NPD results for November, because it paints an interesting picture for Nintendo and their Switch going into 2024. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Small Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're gonna start today with Spider-Man 2 and a bit of an update for an update that we were expecting by the end of this year. However, it does appear that this one will be released in 2024, which we can see this posted up over on X. This from Insomniac, saying we are now targeting early 2024 for the next game update. Now, this is the one that would include things like New Game Plus, which is a big thing now, since the thing with New Game Plus is it's something I would like to see immediately, like right out of the gate, since I'm not necessarily inclined to go back to a game like months later after I've kind of forgotten some of the controls and mechanics. But nonetheless, they also have other highly requested features in here. Includes the ability to change the time of day, also a pretty big deal after you finish the game, swap tendril colors, and even replay missions. So I'm thinking this is probably going to be like a end of January, maybe February release. And really at this time, you're going to start seeing more and more studios and publishers pretty much go on like holiday break. Probably by next week, most of them will be off, and then they'll be back to kick off 2024, and in this case, should be getting a decent-sized update for Spider-Man 2 at that time. Also, while we did have a reveal for Kojima's Xbox game, that being OD, we still don't really know what we're dealing with here. We had some footage of different people reciting things and then screaming into the camera with real close-up shots. Well, we're starting to see some trademarks be discovered around this game, and I no idea what Kojima is doing here, but like this was posted up over on Reddit, the gaming leaks forum. And yeah, I mean, you can see the OD trademark, sure, there's two of them there, but then social scream system and social stealth. So I mean, the social scream in general seemed to be a point of emphasis from the trailer that Kojima showed. We didn't really know, again, what was happening exactly there. I mean, very, very impressive visuals, as they were using Unreal and MetaHuman to basically digitally create these different figures kind of screaming into the camera. Social stealth, no clue, but at least it does kind of play into the aspect of things like Death Stranding, where there was a bit of a social system with the strand system. You'd sort of help each other on your different journeys. Things would phase in and out of other people's games. It was a cool idea, but this, I assume, also plays into the idea of using cloud computing with Microsoft. Social scream. Will it track how often or how loudly you yell if there's a jump scare or something that Kojima's gonna come up with something really weird here, isn't he? Oh, and we did get a new trailer for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, and this game, I think, was already supposed to have been out now, but it got delayed and pushed at this time into 2024. But you can see the trailer, it actually looks pretty good. They say it's in-engine, quote-unquote, gameplay or visuals. It's still hard to grasp as to how that lines up to actual gameplay. I'd prefer to see the perspective, say, of when you're holding the controller and playing the game if they're doing a demonstration like this. But they do show some of the customization, which is awesome. It looks great here, where they're kind of going through, changing out exhaust, intake, different parts of the engine. The design, it looks like you're kind of lining up stencils and graphics to create sort of the effect that you want on the side of your car. And it looks like Test Drive. So I am happy that it looks like they're at least putting that kind of effort into it, and it being delayed probably will end up being for the better for a game like this. So yeah, looking towards 2024, I'm hoping it's first half though, because from what I'm seeing here, it looks pretty good. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Insomniac, Sony, and that hack that we went over yesterday, the ransomware that's apparently holding up Sony for about $2 million, or all of this data is going to be leaked. announced by next week from this group, but they have been putting out proof of hack, and people, of course, are at least zooming in, going over some of the different things, and part of that has to do with upcoming projects that it appears Insomniac is currently working on, or even has worked on in the past. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what's being spelled out for one of these, but the other two are pretty clear. So we can see this posted up over on Insider Gaming. They say, spotted by Reddit user SUT345, 3 of these yet to be announced projects are RCE, Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Verse. Okay, so RCE, people are speculating like, okay, maybe that's Ratchet and Clank. They're trying to come up with what each initial could mean here. Some think it might be a Resistance Collection Enhanced Edition, like they're kind of matching all these different things up. But I would look at that currently as that was Ratchet and Clank in their files. Maybe RCE is just kind of how they referred to it internally. But the others are a bit more interesting right now because we can kind of tell what they are. Spider-Man 3, if you've played Spider-Man 2, you probably understand that, yes, there is going to be a follow-up to this game. That is not at all shocking, right? I think we expect that at some point. Spider-Verse is by far the most interesting thing here. Why is that? Well, Insomniac is working on a multiplayer game of some kind, and I almost wonder if it's just going to be Spider-Verse related. Like, maybe they make a game where there are all these different Spider-Man you can customize, create, and it's like a somewhat of an MMO style thing. Like they have full customization around the way your character looks, different stats, the way you build them out, maybe with gadgets, and then you just kind of go out and fight crime with your friends. I am curious if that would be the way they go with that, but it does make sense and fall in line with the Spider-Verse. There being infinite number of different Spider-Man. You could be like Spider-Pig, or you could have like the Noir Spider-Man. There's a lot of possibilities there, and that seems like a very, very interesting road to go down for Insomniac. The only issue I have with this entire thing is it really does feel like Insomniac is becoming just a Marvel studio for Sony, and it's a shame because they have many other intellectual properties they could tap into, even for multiplayer. I mean, people are looking at this like Resistance could be a collection or something for RCE. I wouldn't mind seeing them take another shot at that with a more multiplayer-centric view, so even if it does fall in line with Sony's live service stuff. It would be interesting just to see them do something even outside of Marvel and Spider-Man and soon to be Wolverine, because it seems like that's just the path they're going down at this point. And it does beg the question of, does it kind of pull away from some of the more creative aspirations that Insomniac could have? Although it is hard to argue against it because it does well. Spider-Man in general does really, really well when it comes to sales, mainstream notoriety, and I feel like Wolverine will have a similar effect. So it's kind of that situation of, well, it's not broken, so don't try to fix it. Just keep plugging along with Spider-Man and Spider-Verse, which, based on the way the next Spider-Verse movie is shaping up and how anticipated that will be, yeah, you probably want to have a game within proximity to go along with it, because there'll probably be some massive sales for Insomniac and Sony if they're able to pull it off. But certainly some interesting stuff here with a multiplayer Spider-Man game maybe from Insomniac. Keep an eye out for. Next up, let's talk about PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium for the month of December, which we can take a look here over on PlayStation Blog. Now, these games will go live starting December 19th, and we'll start at the top here. GTA 5, I mean, why not? GTA 6 spiked massive hype just all across Grand Theft Auto, and I'm sure many people would like to check out GTA 5 if they have not. And I mean, Nate hasn't checked it out yet. There you go. He can get it on either Game Pass or now PlayStation Plus Extra Premium. It's available there on the 19th. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, another good pickup, I think, for this service. I'm sure that many people have kind of passed on this one when it first came out at that price point, and it not necessarily being this high quality Souls Final Fantasy-like experience, but I think it's definitely worth a download if you already have the service there. So I think those are the two big gets for PlayStation Plus Extra this month. But moving on from there, MotoGP 23, we have Metal Hellsinger. That's kind of the rhythm first-person shooter style game. Definitely a very unique title there. Salt and Sacrifice. We have Moon Scars. Mega Man 11. If you have not played Mega Man 11, highly recommend it. Very, very fun game there. Giga Bash. We also have Grime. A Tiny Kin. Proteus. Shadowrun Returns. Shadowrun Dragonfall. And then Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition. Now, if we move up to PlayStation Premium, these would be their classics, and Sony doing that thing where they present to you PS4 games and pretend like they are retro games, although, yeah, technically these are. I mean, the Mega Man Legacy Collection, look, awesome collection of games. I can't take anything away from it. Love these older Mega Man games, right? And in this case, you have Collection 1 and 2, so that runs from Mega Man, the first one, all the way up to Mega Man 10. If you've never played these, what's wrong with you? They're right here. Check them out then when they come out if you have never played a Mega Man game. Although, I would say you could probably just start with Mega Man 2. I don't think you miss a lot if you just skip Mega Man 1 other than just nostalgia and seeing where the game series started. Sure, but from there we have Thrillville Off the Rails. I believe those are PSP games, not PS2 games or anything. So once again, Sony is seemingly shying away from having a PS2 game in a service that they advertise as having PS2 games at some point, and it's been a while since the launch of the service, still nothing. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, that is a PS1 game, and a very random one at that to be here, but hey, there you go. It's got a PS1 game out of it. All in all, though, not bad. A pretty good update in addition to the service starting December 19th. Definitely some good stuff to check out. Final Fantasy, Stranger's Paradise, I think that's definitely a good one. And hey, if you've never played through GTA 5 on that story mode, this will be a good time to check it out. Next up, let's talk about this incredible port for The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening that kind of just appeared out of nowhere, and no one seems to know who exactly made this thing, but it is super high quality, and it's available to download right now. So let's start from the beginning here. I saw this tweet going around, and this was posted up by Vinicius, and it says, I found out that there's a port of Zelda Link's Awakening for PC, and I'm amazed with it. This version not only offers widescreen support, but the game now runs at a single screen without any transitions, and you can zoom out to see more of the overworld. So I posted up a video on X, zooming all the way out, and yes, you can indeed zoom to the point where you see the entire map, and everything is running on the map all at once. So you have this camera that does not kind of break away into different sections, different screen tiles, it's just a smooth moving screen. And you can see, I have some footage here that I also just natively recorded. The frame rate is higher. I wasn't able to get an exact count. I was trying to figure out if I was touching like 144 hertz or 120. People are saying 120 frames. I was trying to get an exact count, but it is a much smoother frame rate here. Now, this is specifically on PC, and over on the itch.io page, Link's Awakening DX HD. They say we've turbocharged the gameplay with high frame rate support, ensuring that every sword swing, puzzle solve, and enemy encounter feels smoother and more responsive than ever. Rediscover the magic of this timeless Zelda title with improved performance, letting you explore dungeons, uncover secrets, and engage in epic battles with unparalleled fluidity. So it's about 24 megabytes. It's not like a big file or anything. You just unzip it and go. System requirements obviously are not very high, but it does take advantage of just better hardware if you have it available to you. I also like they put a little bit of a shadowing effect on the different sprites running around on screen, so they do kind of pop away from it a bit and gives it some depth, but this is super impressive. Now, you can kind of look at the author, and this is the only thing they've posted up. It's just Link's Awakening DX HD. I don't know why no one's come forward for this other than the obvious, which it could be. Nintendo will probably start looking around, and I'm actually shocked this thing is still up. Many sites have started to put up different articles pointing this thing out. So usually when that happens, you're on a time limit. So I'm telling you this now. Go there, download it if you're curious, and try it out. Or at the very least, download it, because something tells me this page won't be there too much longer, and this port is genuinely impressive, and I absolutely recommend everyone to at least try it out once and see what you think about that smooth moving camera, the way you can zoom out. You can see so much more. And if you have an ultra wide monitor, absolutely set it up and see what you think, because it's a very, very impressive way to experience Link's Awakening. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the MPD sales for the month of November, or I guess Circana sales. Their MPD's now Circana, but either way, this gives us a look at how video games sold in the US for that month, and we also got an idea as to console placement in terms of first, second, and third, and just how the overall market is doing, which we can see this posted up over on Install Base Forum. Also linked to Matt Piscatella, who has an entire thread over on X with additional details, but we can see it says November video game hardware spending fell 24% when compared to a year ago. That's to $964 million. All current generation consoles experienced a double-dip percentage decline in dollar sales when compared to a year ago, with Nintendo Switch showing the sharpest drop year on year. Not too surprising, because they're just running out of people to sell the thing to. In fact, there was an additional statistic that was shared by Matt saying that at this time in November, the Switch has surpassed the Xbox 360 in the US for lifetime sales. And we know the 360 sold roughly 43 million systems in the US lifetime. So, I mean, we can obviously determine then that the Switch has sold more than 43 million, probably coming up to about 44 million systems sold in the US. So, yeah, basically just everyone who wants a Switch probably has 1, 2, or even 3 of them in their household. Now, moving over, I do want to throw up the top 20 here. We'll look at the top 10, though, with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 at the top, as expected. No surprise at all here. That does move Marvel Spider-Man 2 down to the second slot. Hogwarts Legacy, though, they're at 3. Madden NFL 24 at 4. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the little star means that no digital sales are recorded here because Nintendo doesn't share them, so still pretty impressive for Mario Bros. Wonder to be there at the 5th spot. EA Sports FC 24, Super Mario RPG, same deal, just physical copies here, so a pretty good placement, I'd say, at number 7 for it. Mortal Kombat 1 at 8, NBA 2K24, also same deal, digital sales not included for some reason for NBA 2K24, and then UFC 5 rounds out the top 10. Now, there is one other very, very interesting piece of data, as we could be seeing something that's historical here, with the top-selling game for 2023, the entire year in the US, not being from Activision or Rockstar. That being Hogwarts Legacy, still hanging on to the top slot despite Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 debuting. And basically at this point, Hogwarts Legacy has to hold on through this month, at which point they would break the streak. I think you have to go, they were saying you have to go back to like 2008 or something. That wasn't like a Call of Duty or like a Red Dead or a Grand Theft Auto or something. I think they're saying it was Rock Band. So yeah, it's been a long time, but that'd be very, very impressive for Hogwarts Legacy, and the obvious thing is you probably will see a sequel at some point. But yeah, for the Switch, it does feel like, okay, Nintendo's probably thinking, yeah, we're going in 2024, get through the holiday, and I believe to close out the fiscal year, we'll hear about their new hardware. So I'm right now looking at March as when they will either run a trailer to reveal what the big idea is for it, or maybe have an entire direct centered around it. It's possible they do a trailer in January to set things up like they did with the Switch, where they released a trailer in October and then gathered in January to do a big blowout and then launched it in March. But really, I think we're about, I'd say at most, 3 months away from hearing Nintendo actually say things outside of, we're always developing new hardware. No. I think at that point they'll say, okay, let's actually talk about the hardware and what we have planned for next generation. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, which is Game of the Year Madness, Day 24, Super Mario Bros. Wonder taking on Metroid Prime Remastered, and yeah, Super Mario Bros. Wonder absolutely running over Metroid Prime Remastered. I did notice in the comments, though, people said that they were just gonna vote for the original game as opposed to the remaster. I mean, I get it. It is a new game technically against a game that came out back on the GameCube and was just basically remastered for the Switch, sure. But that was technically an upset because Metroid Prime Remastered was seated higher than Mario Bros. Wonder. And now we're getting to the right side of the bracket, and there's some pretty good matchups here in the coming days. Keep an eye out because you're going to see things like Final Fantasy 16 be up, Baldur's Gate, and more. So exciting couple of days coming up here. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Antron saying, I remember having to wait for a magazine in the mail to read about E3. Then with PlayStation Underground, you had to wait for a disc in the mail with video footage and demos from the show that you could play on your PS1. Yeah, back then, information delivery was very, very delayed. It was basically a month or more because you would have to wait for that magazine, whereas now, it's instant. Like social media age, you get it right away. And when we moved from magazines up to TV, where we had G4 and Spike TV, those were all covering E3. It was like this epiphany. It was amazing to see the stuff play out and being taken a bit more seriously. But those were the good days because E3 would happen right as school was letting out for the summer. So think about that, like in that position, being like a 11 or 12-year-old and you're getting done school completely, summer in front of you, and then a week long of video game announcements and coverage on TV. Every day you wake up and there'd be some new big game being shown off. It was exciting times that, hey, in like 10 or 15 years, you'll be able to tell your kids or your grandkids or whoever about that moment in time, and they'll have no idea what you're talking about. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was Insomniac's plans going forward. Spider-Man 3, obvious, right? But Spider-Verse, a multiplayer game, that could be something special. Let me know your thoughts on that one. And then also, what about this Zelda Link's Awakening PC port? Did you get a chance to try it out? And what do you think of it? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.